Yes, people, we're back. It's Gooner to Gooner. It's myself, as ever, your host, Dan Potts, and I'm with one of my good friends and good friend of the channel, Mr. Chris Hudson. Chris, good to see you, mate. Lots to talk about. How are we
Yeah.
feeling?
All right, mate. I think you sum this week up: the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I like
Right?
that.
The
I
good,
like that.
amazing performance at Man City, despite what Roy Keane thinks. Um, Wonderful result the other night, especially with the two, the youngsters. I know Nwaneri, everyone, but I thought the Miles Lewis-Selly, he was giving me Ashley Cole vibes, mate. I
Wow.
thought he was outstanding. And the bad and the ugly, the refereeing, and some of the crap I've heard from Roy Keane. He done my head in this week. Anyway, we'll get on to that.
We will, mate. We will. Listen, we're going to talk about that Man City fallout. Not so much the game because I think we've done that to death, but actually the fallout from it is quite phenomenal. We are going to mention referees. We're going to talk about the Bolton game because I was really, really impressed, like you were, with a couple of the youngsters. And we're going to go into tomorrow's game, mate, which of course is another big game. Premier League is back. This is mad. We play. I can't get a break, mate. We play every few games now until February. It is quite crazy. I mean, we shouldn't be complaining because we're back and we're challenging, but my God, they don't get a rest today, these players. Let me tell you that. Let's start with the fallout from Manchester City, Chris, because I've got to say it was quite phenomenal. I have never seen rival fans so rattled. I have never seen Manchester City fans so rattled. And I've never heard so much rubbish in all my life from some of the media and some of the outlets and some of the social media pages. It has been quite phenomenal for a team that have drew a game with 10 men that defended for their lives, that defended like lions, to be given so much stick and called the Tony Pulis of M&S. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. And I like Roy Keane. I've got to say it. I like him as a pundit. I think he says it how it is. But he was talking a lot of waffle at the weekend, mate. Talk to me. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to go? What are you going to go with?
I want to go with Roy Keane. I thought his post-match views after the game on Sky, he was talking rubbish, saying, "Well, they can't be that good at defending. They let 2 goals in." Are you sure? Can you imagine if we'd gone there and opened up? He would have said, "Arsenal still haven't learnt. They're so naive, etc." Wouldn't he? That's what he would have said.
Yep.
And then I wasn't impressed with Theo Walcott and Merson in the studio, Dan, either, because they were letting him spew all this rubbish, and they were sitting there grinning. And I thought to myself, no, the only one who stood up for us was Michael Richards, wasn't it?
But that's always the case.
Yeah, and he got into an argument, and then he's obviously carried it on this week, calling us a Tony Pulis team. But the thing is, if you look before Man City played the Arsenal, Inter Milan turned up and did the same thing, and I've not heard anyone call them a pub team. You know what I mean? Inter Milan showed Arsenal how to do it, and Arsenal have now shown a lot of teams in the Premier League don't go to Man City and take out the backside. If you go there with a plan and you stick to it, you can get a result. People are too scared of Man City, Dan, on and off the pitch, by the way.
Facts. I think everybody shows them respect. They go there and say, let's just give it a go, and they end up getting absolutely taken up the backside.
Hammered.
Listen, I've got to say this. There's 4 teams, right, that have gone down to 10 men at the Etihad. Chelsea, they lost 6-0. Liverpool, they lost 5-0. Man United, they lost 4-1. And Spurs, they lost 3-0. Arsenal went down to 10 men, and the Arsenal come and defended what would have been 10 seconds away from a lead and the 3 points, which would have been, by the way, heroic, and everyone would have told us how magnificent we are. But because 10 seconds we switched off for the short corner and they get an equaliser, all of a sudden we're a disgrace and Tony Pulis should be proud and all this rubbish. And I someone in the chat here, Alden, oh, you're Simeone, you don't win trophies, he's saying in the chat. Look, if we win the league playing like that, fair play, I don't give a damn. But I can tell you this now, we ain't going to play like that every single game. The reason we did it is because we went down to 10 men, we were 2-1 up, and we thought this is all we can do now. We can either open up and try and win 3 or 4-1, which ain't going to happen, or we can hold on to this lead and hope that we hold on to it. And I've got to say, as Trossard got sent off, I thought we'd bloody lose the game, Chris. So I was happy with it in the end.
And plus the fact, everyone's conveniently forgot Tottenham away, Man City away. We had a few players injured. Zinchenko would have played. He would have been an option, wouldn't he? He would have come on. Tommy Asu, not there.
Yeah.
The Spanish boy, not there. So what do people expect us to do? I'm not having it, Dan. I've had years of seeing our players getting kicked. Eduardo, Arshavin, Van Persie. There's loads of Aaron Ramsey. And for once, I love it. We're going back to the Arsenal Jules Graham, and I love it, Dan.
So do
We're
I.
not here to make everyone's life happy. We're here to win, mate.
Exactly, mate. I want to win. I don't care how we win it. This is what makes you laugh. Bernardo Silva, that little rat coming out. Oh, Liverpool don't play like this against us when they
Yeah.
were going for the title. Or maybe that's why they didn't win the league against you then. They only won it once. Come on, man. Like, you've got to find ways to win the games. And I don't care that we've gone away to Aston Villa, Man City, and Spurs, and we've had to play like that in parts of the game in all three of them. We've come away with what I thought was going to be very, very tricky. We've somehow come away with 7 points, and it's now done. And we had Atalanta in that game, mix of games as well, away, which we didn't lose to, right? So now we go to a nice little string of games. I've got to mention it, Chris. It's a nice little segue into the refereeing because, look, I don't care whether you think it should have been a yellow or not. I don't really care about that. I look at the consistency of these decisions from Mr. Oliver, from his colleagues, and I think it's a shambles. We've seen Dominic Soboslai the week before for Liverpool against Forest on a yellow card, smash the ball away. Referee decides to do nothing. We've seen Bruno Fernandes as the only player, right, that's got a yellow card for kicking the ball away. There's 3 other players that have got yellow cards. Out of 50 offences, so far this season, kicking the ball away, 50 players have done it. 4 players have got yellow cards. Bruno Fernandes is one of them. The other 3 are all Arsenal players. Saliba, Trossard and Rice. And 2 of them have been sent off for it. But what is going on here, Chris?
Well, I've been listening to Lee Judges. He's gone full throttle into our friend Mr. Oliver. But the thing is, the evidence, you can't refute the evidence now. He's refereed Man City 47 times, not giving them 1 red card. And then you look at his performance. Look at his performance at the Emirates last year when Kovacic nearly broke Odegaard's leg. It's madness. And I tell you, I'm diverting a little bit. If you think the refs are bad at this level, I'll draw your attention. My local team, Cheshunt, I'm not going to go. Their manager has done a YouTube interview today, and he's bemoaning the quality of refereeing at that standard. So that referee, would start at the Ryman League, and he'd work. The ref he's talking about. Let's say he goes all the way. Give it 3 years, he'll be at the Emirates, but giving red cards for nothing. Even at the lowest of level, Dan, the Ryman League, the referees are poor.
They are. They are. They really are. And I don't know how we get this better. I don't know if we have to go overseas or what we have to do here because I can't remember. Do you know what? It was me and you talking about this last time. I can't remember referees that have been good, even going back 20 years, mate.
Well,
there's been hardly any.
I think there are some, but I think some. But even the ones that were good have had bad days. But I just think the ones we got now, I follow Keith Hackett on the X, and he bemoans the standard. I think what you got to do, you got to sack Howard Webb. That's one. That's the first thing. And I'll put someone like Keith Hackett in charge. But that's who am I? But since they had Webb's taken over, Dan, it's been an unmitigated disaster. And that program, the Ref Watch. What a waste of time. And then you got the other idiot, Dermot Gallagher.
Who's a right wanker, he is.
Yeah, the man who never sent Dan Smith off for crippling Diaby. I just don't know. It's so depressing, Dan, because it's fine margins, mate. At the end of this year, they cost us last year, the refs, didn't they? Newcastle, Villa. I'm sick of it, actually.
I'm sick of it, mate. And what don't help is when Howard Webb comes out last year and says, Kovacic, I don't think Michael Oliver wanted to ruin the game. And then this year, he wants to ruin the same game, the reverse fixture at the Etihad with a reverse player. And he completely ruins the game. Like, what is he talking about, this Howard Webb? He's coming out with crap. He's coming out with nonsense.
Why are you allowing English Prem refs to go and referee in Saudi, bank 20 grand in your bank account? Because you're compromising yourself. It's like being on a jury, isn't it? If you and I were on a jury and someone we knew was up for a crime and we didn't say, "Oh, actually, we know this bloke," it's the same thing, isn't it?
Of course it is. It's a massive
compromising yourself.
It's a conflict of interest, massively. If you're paying me and someone says, "Do you think that Chris is guilty or not guilty?" I say he's not guilty. He's paying me. He's not guilty. I want my money. Absolute
Yeah,
shambles. That's what it is. £20,000. By the way, referees I found out get paid just under £2,000 every game they referee. Right, this geezer's
scandalous.
been offered £20,000 to referee one in Abu Dhabi Nations in our ADNOC um, league over there. And I've got a show on it coming out later tonight. I won't ruin it. You'll be stunned. I've done the research in it. It is absolutely shambolic. The refereeing decisions from Michael Oliver, the inconsistency of Michael Oliver for and against City and Arsenal is a shambles, mate. It's absolute disgrace.
And then, but the thing is, when you go into Europe, why are the referees so much better in Europe than what they are here? I don't understand.
No.
Why?
No, well, they are, though, aren't they? I mean, in Champions League and the European, even the Champions League, you know, there's that ref we had for Atalanta who I actually thought was pretty good. Looks like Trossard. He actually is
Yeah,
quite good. He looks quite good, I think. I know people slated him last time we played against Porto and thought he was poor, but I actually thought he's been pretty good. You obviously had that Kim Nielsen years ago who was good. Kalina, who was probably the best ref ever.
yeah.
Fantastic. All of them are overseas. None of them are English. You know, like we've got, I think Jeff Winter's the best we've ever had. And that was years ago. And Keith Hackett, like you've said, that Mark Halsey, I didn't mind him. Some people didn't like
Yeah,
him,
he's
but
all right. Yeah,
you know, like so, like it's really. Otherwise, you got Andy Durso, Uriah Rennie, bloody Mike Riley, Graham Poll,
Graham Graham
Clattenburg.
Cole.
I mean,
Uh,
like Clattenburg, Graham Poll's still the only person who's given free yellow cards out. By the way, I've ever known in my life to give free yellow cards out because he's forgotten he's already booked someone twice. I mean, that is an embarrassment, isn't it? That absolute wally. So look, the refereeing standard ain't going to get any better. I will say this though, Chris, right? And this is me being serious now, taking my Arsenal hat off. This is me talking purely from football. We need to look at decisions like that, and we need to look at why we didn't win the game. And we can't always point to the referee. I think we have to be better as a fan base. We ain't going to get anything off the bloke in black. We never are. We're never going to look to him and go, "Oh, we should have won the game if only for the ref." Please, ref. The ref's going to give you nothing, mate. He's proven that against Arsenal time and time again. So now Arsenal need to look at their performances if they want to pick up 3 points. That's why I wasn't going in on the ref at Brighton, because we missed 4 sitters. We should have won the game comfortably. You know, so
yeah, I
look,
agree with that.
the referee was crap, and the referees are always going to be crap. You know, the referee was crap at Wolves, but because we won 2-0, no one spoke about it. You know, I saw Kai Havertz get throttled on the floor, but no one spoke about it because we won 2-0. You know, so sometimes we've got to be realistic and look at it, you know, and say what happened, how did we get 3 points and go from there, you know. So that's what I'm at with that one. But look, it's a nice way to move to this title race quickly before we go on to midweek and Leicester. Look, Rodri being out, does that give us a massive advantage now for this league, do you think?
Uh, well, I suppose if I listen to all the pundits, I suppose it would do. But I still think, you know, he'll come up with something. Pep, you know, he's the world's greatest manager. So I'm not jumping on that bandwagon, Dana. And I think we you know, just because Rodri's out, I mean, I don't really agree with that, mate. I still think they're going to be the massive obstacle. But as I said the last time, it ain't just Arsenal and Man City this year. You know, you got to worry about. I still think you got to worry about Liverpool, Villa. Who, they're getting away with a lot of murder at the moment, Villa, but they're still winning. And I suppose you might laugh, but I suppose if Chelsea keep on, you know, they could be in the frame as well. You never know.
Listen, you never know. If I'm to be brutally honest, I only see Liverpool as the potential threat out of those teams. I still think Chelsea needed a goalkeeper and a striker, and like you say, Villa. I think it's just a start for them. I think when the games come thick and fast for them, they've got a squad, by the way. Don't get me wrong, they really have. But I just think with the Champions League coming into play, they're still in the League Cup. They're going to want to go far in the trophies. I think for me, they'll be happy with Champions League football again. They'll be happy doing what Newcastle couldn't last year, which was get Champions League again. I honestly believe that and go for a trophy. But look, I think Liverpool are ones that we can't muck around with. They're scoring goals for fun. They've got their front four firing. And I think as well, Liverpool, let's be real, the biggest compliment I can give that Arnie Slot is they haven't looked unrecognisable since Klopp's gone, have they? You don't look at
No,
Liverpool and think, what the hell's this team? You know, Klopp, brilliant. How good was he? Look at this rubbish. Like, for me, they've just kind of picked up where they left off, really. And that's the biggest compliment I can give them. So I think Liverpool are there or thereabouts, Chris, if I'm honest, yeah.
and you know, obviously you can't rule that they got Salah, got Van Dijk, and as you rightly say, they got so many great options up the front, mate. I mean,
They have.
they got goals everywhere. But
Yeah, they have.
that's where if we was talking, I think our Achilles heel is that at the moment. Because we'll get on to that.
Yeah, we will, and let's get on to it now because there's a lot of people saying that Arsenal are playing this way and it's a ridiculous way to try and win the league. Now, let me tell you this: I have absolutely no doubt that we will stop playing this way when we get the likes of Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth, and all this, right? But if we have to play like that in a few games against Villa away, Spurs away, City away, if we go to Anfield and we have to do that, and it gets us out of there, I'm all right with it. It doesn't bother me playing
Yeah,
different
but
styles.
no, people forget that Mourinho's Chelsea did that.
Yep, and
That's how he won the league.
they were praised for it.
Yeah, and also when we Arsenal out on Jules Graham's Arsenal did it. The 1991 season, we let in 18 goals that year, Dan. But we weren't boring. There was loads of teams we ranked 6s and 4s, but we also knocked out 12 1-0s on the trot that season. It was quite lovely, really.
People forget. I mean, I was very young at the time. Are you talking about 91? Yeah, because I was young. I was really young. I was born in '87, so I was only 4. But I
That's the
remember
forgotten season, Dan.
it is, isn't it? It's and people forget that
To
season
me,
we only lost one game, and that was to Chelsea, wasn't it?
yeah, and we only lost that because Steve Bold went off injured and he had to play Hillier at centre half with Adams. They would have been the Invincibles that year. I'm telling you, it was a wonderful team. But everyone goes on quite rightly about Anfield and the Wengers, but the amount of people who forget 1991 is quite amazing, really.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that go back and say that's one of the best they've ever seen. Like that team was one of the best they've ever seen, and I can see why. I mean, I can understand why. I was far too young to remember it, but look, I think we're going to have to do a bit of George Graham this season. I think we're going to have to do a bit of both, and I want to get the balance right. I mean, look, we've missed Odegaard. Don't get me wrong; you're going to miss Odegaard. He's quality, right? But do you put that down to the reason as to why we haven't been creating as much, or do you just think it's been our style of play that we've had to play a bit more defensive of late?
No, we are missing Odegaard big time, Dan, because he links everything up, mate, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, you could. I mean, people say that's stupid. Now, just because we played a couple of games away from home and we look like, like defending for our lives, doesn't mean that we're going to stop scoring goals. But the next 2 games, Dan, I must admit we got to reap some hay, haven't we? Leicester and Southampton. We got to be looking at 6 points and boost the goal average as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Facts, mate. And look, this for me is why I want to see what Arsenal are like in the next few games. Because for the whole of October, we only play away once, and that's at Bournemouth. Every single other
That's
game
right,
is at the Emirates. It's crazy how this is happening, but it is. This is the new format of this Champions League. So look, I think we can make the Emirates a fortress in the next month, and I think we're going to have to. We've got tough games. Don't get me wrong. Shakhtar, PSG, Liverpool, all at home. But we have got Southampton and Leicester on top of that as well, with the Bournemouth game away in there too, which won't be easy. But I'm looking to see our goal difference go up, and I'm looking to see how convincing we can be in front of goal against some of these teams. But before we go there, Chris, I've got to mention midweek, mate. What did you make of it against Bolton?
Well, the thing I wanted, more important than the result, was the performance of the Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Selly. So I got the result, and plus the fact the cherry on the cake was the performances of those 2 boys. I mean, and if we got, do you know what he has? I think you got to play him against Leicester, Nathan. I'm telling you, or bring him on with 20 minutes to go, or give him a full 90 minutes against Southampton. But that'll be all down to what injuries we got for tomorrow. But he showed to me he can handle it. He's a class act. And Miles Lewis-Selly, as I said, I was getting Ashley Cole vibes, Dan, watching him. I'm telling you. I mean,
Wow.
what a pass for the first goal. That lump at Man City, you said to him, who the effing hell are you? To Miles Lewis. Well, he knows who he is now, mate, I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, I thought that was shameless, by the way, from Haaland. Absolutely shameless, but that's another story. Look, I was really impressed with Miles. I thought he was excellent. I know that at the first goal he did go up and didn't get back, but if I'm honest with you, Jorginho, he just ain't got the pace to keep up with that lad anymore. But I thought he was phenomenal, mate. I was really impressed. And you know what? It ain't just been that game, Chris. I was impressed with him. I saw him at Bayer Leverkusen in the pre-season. I saw him in the States in pre-season. And I was told last season that this lad's got something about him, but I've heard that before with other players. I didn't really take much notice because I've heard this about J. Emmanuel Thomas and Dan Crowley and Luke Ollie and all these years and years ago. So I thought it was going to be another one of them. But I must say, I've looked at him and thought, nah, he's going to be a
Yeah.
top player. And I think he's definitely going to be in the mould of like the other boys that have come through. But Ethan Nwaneri, oh my God, I want to see Ethan playing. I want to see him playing against Leicester. People have said play Trossard because he's back, but I'll be playing Nwaneri and I'll be bringing Trossard on or playing him on the left because for me, I looked at what Ethan Nwaneri was about, and I know people will say it's Bolton. No, it's only Bolton. Calm down. Yeah, well, Saka was playing, and Rice was playing, and Jorginho was playing, Jesus, Sterling. They weren't nowhere near as good as Ethan Nwaneri. He was absolutely head and shoulders above everyone. And I don't know about you, but when he receives the ball and he turns and he drives, he looks like Smith Rowe did when he first come on the scene for
Yeah,
Arsenal.
yeah.
And I've been a big fan of him, mate. And I don't know what you think about him starting games. Do you think he'll start at the weekend?
Well, let's hypothetically say Ben White and Timber are not fit. So who's going to go right back then? It has to be Thomas Partey, isn't it? So there's a
Oh,
big
God.
hole in the midfield for Ethan Nwaneri to play. But even if Ben White's fit, I still find room to play him against Leicester. I really would, because you think he's buzzing, But I suppose you've got to be careful how you handle young players. You've got to keep their feet on the ground. You know what I mean? Don't let him get too big headed. But he's got the ability, he's got the confidence, and let's see what he's got. And I don't think he let people down. Arteta's got confidence in him. So that's all that matters, really.
Facts. I'll tell you what I would do at right back if both of those are fit. I'd play Lewis Skelly there. I know he played left back, but I would play him there because I think he can play. He's versatile, this Lewis Skelly, mate. He's
Yeah, he's
versatile.
a good player.
He looks a good
I was
player,
so
like
impressed with him. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He's
I
a good
would.
player.
I mean, some of the other players deserve to mention. I thought Josh Nichols had a nervous start, but I thought he grew into the game, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
And we've got to talk about our 16-year-old goalkeeper. I'm going to bring up a stat now. This will make everybody laugh, right? This was actually from AFTV. I saw it today. I thought I've got to put this on. Jack Porter is 16 years old and 72 days. The last time Spurs won a trophy was 16 years and 214 days. So he weren't even born. That is hilarious. But I couldn't believe that when I saw that. Well, that is absolutely beautiful. Jack Porter has been born and he still ain't never, ever seen Tottenham win anything. That is beautiful. Only just turned 16 years old. Do you know he's only turned 16 in July? That is incredible. Like to get
That's
his
amazing.
it's unbelievable. He must have been so nervous, Chris. And I thought he got through the game all right.
Yeah, I mean, I was over the moon with him. Don't you think that's you? Imagine how nervous you would be. 60,000 Bolton, Emirates, and you're saying to yourself, please don't let me make a mistake. But I'll tell you what, that's got to be down to the excellent coaching he receives. So he didn't look nervous, did he? And he didn't
No.
let anyone down. So it's a great.
Look, I'll say this. I was really impressed, not just by his performance, because obviously he was nervous. I was really impressed by the players around him, mate. Like I was really impressed with Kivior. I saw him. I
Yeah,
went to the game. I saw him helping him. He was talking to him non-stop. Calafiori was. Rice was. Jesus was going up to him. Jorginho. All these players were helping these lads out. And you think, look, some of those are experienced heads like Jorginho in terms of their age. But actually, we've got quite an experienced team that's still quite young now, Chris. Like Rice is still young, but he's been around. Jesus is actually not old, but he's been around. He's won stuff. We've actually got a team now that's starting to show some leadership on and off the pitch, and that was probably the biggest plus for me. Actually, was we can play these young kids. Wenger never used to do that. He used to just play a load of kids, didn't he? We used to lose the game, but he's actually switched it round and he's rotated it and he's thought, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I've got a young keeper, I've got young fullbacks, and I've got a youngster in midfield. I'm going to surround them with experience. Sterling, Jesus, Jorginho, Rice, even Kivior. I know that he's a young kid still, but he's played. It's not like you don't know what he's doing. It's not like he played Heaven there or that Maldini kid. And that just allowed the youngsters to have a little bit of confidence and have someone in front of him. Josh Nichols gets to start, but he's behind Bukayo Saka, who started. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was really good from Arteta. And if I'm honest with you, I think the biggest compliment I can give him is that actually he did take that game seriously and he didn't just play a bunch of kids, because he could have done that.
The thing is,
as we had.
Yeah. And the next round, Preston, I think he'll play a game, Dan, because Neto's still cup tied. I mean, I'll keep him in, and that might be even bigger test. Imagine that away from home at Preston. If he come flying through that, then we've got to keep him on our hands. But yeah, that's for another day, I suppose.
No, of course. I mean, Neto's cup tied, isn't he? So he won't be able to play that one. So, I mean, we've signed the goalkeeper for the Cups who's cup tied. I mean, that's hilarious, really, isn't it? But there we go. Look, let's move to Leicester. Talk me through what you think the team will be, Chris, for this Leicester game.
Well, fitness permitting, I suppose I'm going to go Raya or Neto, because we don't know who's fit, do we? Timber, fitness permitting, Calafiori, Saliba and Gabriel, Partey, Rice. But then I want to fit in, so I can't. It's a bit hard because I don't know who's fit, Dan.
Of course.
So it's easy. I can't really.
If we're going with who we think is available, obviously that could change. But
I might be a little bit controversial, and I might find a room for Raheem Sterling.
Okay.
I thought he looked good the other night. I might give him a run. So basically, it's team as is, but question marks over who's fit, really, Dan. But I'll give Sterling a chance, and I'll give Nwaneri a chance. So you fit everyone around those two.
So if everyone's fit, who would your
so Martinelli, Havertz, Saka, and Sterling.
Okay. So you'd have Trossard and Martinelli on the bench, yeah?
Yeah.
I think like that.
I like Martinelli. I thought, by the way, I think Martinelli was outstanding at Man City last week. By the way, I know people were moaning about it, but he really sacrificed his game for the team, mate. I thought he was outstanding, and he done well when he came on the other night. But I've sort of remember we got PSG next week, Dan. So I might save Martinelli and or Trossard for that match. Actually, no, it's called rotation. It's not dropping people. You got to rotate, but all depends on the injuries, mate.
I mean, let's mention Sterling, because you've brought him up, and I think he deserves a mention. I thought midweek he started off really bad, mate. I thought, oh my God, everything he was doing, he was fluffing his lines. I thought he really come into the game. I know he assisted in the first half, but in the second half, he was much better. Obviously, he got the goal, which was a tap in, but you need to be in the box to be there to tap it home. But I thought he really picked up his game, and I just want to know what your thoughts are on this kid. Like, can we get something out of him? Because we need to. We're going to need to use him. He's going to have to contribute. We've got so many games.
Well, I'm just hoping Arteta's hinting that he's still not up to have had to work on his fitness. That. So I think he's going to be a major asset. I mean, it's a long way to go this season, Dan. And I think with his experience, and if Arteta can get him to what I call Man City levels, I think it's a win-win situation. Put it this way, I know there's no way I'd have Gabriel Jesus ahead of him.
Well, that's the next player I wanted to come on to, because he got a lot of stick the other night, Gabriel Jesus. He missed a really bad chance in the first half. I know he had a player on him, but come on, you're better than him. It wasn't until the 70th minute that he come into the game. I thought he was poor for the rest of it, Chris, I've got to say. And I don't know your thoughts about Gabriel Jesus. It is a genuine question, right? It is a genuine question. It's kind of a statement / question. I think Arsenal might have actually outgrown Gabriel Jesus quicker than we thought we would, because Manchester City did. They got to titles. They won titles with him as a squad player. He wanted to be the number 9, so he left. He come to Arsenal to be the number 9, and I think we've outgrown him at number 9 now. I don't think he's the best striker we got, mate. And I think this could be his last year in an Arsenal shirt. So I don't know what you think of that.
Well, I'll tell you something. I might be looking to sell him in January, Dan.
Wow.
And possibly or Zinchenko. So I think we've outgrown them both. And Zinchenko's never available.
No.
He's never available, is he? And he's lost his number 3 shirt. Arteta doesn't rate him as the left back anymore.
No.
The midfield, I don't know where he's going to get a game there. So I was thinking, whilst I said in January, if we need to raise some capital, I'll sell both of them, and we could use that to bring a forward in.
Look, I want to see a forward anyway. I want to see a forward. I've wanted to see a forward for a long time. I just don't think Jesus is a number 9. I don't actually mind him, Chris, playing on the wing. I actually think he's more of a winger. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a squad player, but I can't see him in front of goal anymore because every time I see him, he plays bad there. And it weren't really until Kai Havertz come on midweek that you started to see us playing with a proper 9 again. And I mean, Havertz is definitely ahead of the pecking order. There's no doubt about that for me. But this was why I wanted a centre forward in January, because in the summer. I don't think we will do much in January because we never do. It's always a bit this PSR prevents you from doing anything, it seems now. So I think we're going to have to wait for the summer to see what happens with these players. But I'm going to chuck a few names at you, and I want you to be really honest with me about their futures, right? And this might sound a bit doom and gloom, but I don't think it is. I think it's just us moving forward with this squad of players. If I read out the following names, I want you to tell me ones that you would 100% keep at the Arsenal, right? I'll go through them slowly.
Yeah.
Kieran Tierney, Tommy Asu.
Sell. Sell.
Yeah. Zinchenko.
Sell.
Thomas Partey, end of contract.
Let go.
Jorginho, end of contract.
Keep, but on the coaching side of things.
Gabriel Jesus.
Sell.
And then Raheem Sterling, well, I suppose we need to find out what he's going to be like this year.
Keep.
Okay.
In brackets, all depends how he does in the next 8 months.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with you on every single one. I think the Jorginho one is a question mark because we can't just sell all our midfield and all of our strikers and then go and buy another 2 or 3 of each position. We got to be obviously sort of sensible with it. But I look at the scenarios there and I think, yeah, there's a few players there that really have got to prove their fitness and their ability this season. And unfortunately, a lot of those players I've mentioned are just made of glass. I mean, Tommy Asu, we made a joke last week about it. We don't even hear what's happening with this guy. We don't know how fit he is. We don't know when he's back. We don't know what's wrong with him. I don't get it, Chris.
Well, the sad thing about him, when he's fit, he's a bloody good footballer, isn't he? And we could have really done. We could have really done with him lately because he can fill in so many positions. So a lot of those players that I've said sell, a lot of it because they've had bad injuries, isn't they?
Right.
It's, and that's sad, but I suppose it's a cutthroat business. It's not, but they're not contributing to the squad, and they're banking large money in wages as well.
Listen, if you said to me now, and I'll be truly honest with you, if you said to me now, those players that I've just mentioned are going to be fully fit for 3 years, you're not going to get any injury problems with them, I'd keep a lot of them. I'd keep a lot of them. Yeah, I'd keep Partey. I'd keep Tommy Asu. I'd keep Tierney, believe it or not, but a lot of people like him. But I would. But the best ability is availability, man. And these players are never available. And Jesus is another one. As much as we're slating the fact he's not playing well, he's never fit either. Like he's always injured. I'm waiting for him to go down every week. So look, it's one of those, bruv. Like we got to be honest about ourselves and go where are we going with this next level. And I think Arteta knows that. I mean, there's a lot of rumours around Tommy Asu being allowed to leave in January because they've given up with his fitness. There's a lot of rumours about potentially some of the others that are being linked. I'd be amazed if Tierney's still here in January. I think he'll go on loan somewhere. Maybe he'll go on loan to Celtic again. I don't know. But try and get some game time over there and feel a bit more loved. But look, I'm looking at this Leicester game and I'm confident. And I'm quietly confident with it. I want to get your opinions on a couple of things on this game. There's rumours that Raya is still not fit. Obviously, the reason Porter played was because Neto was cup tied. So I imagine if he is injured still, which I'm kind of guessing that he is, because Arteta has been quite coy about it and saying he might be doubtful, he might not be ready. How confident are you with this Neto coming in?
Well, he was. I was quite impressed with him when he was at Bournemouth. Dan, and I remember he played with Barcelona, didn't he? I don't think he's let anyone down, but I much prefer Rayo, obviously. But I'm not sort of sitting there really panicking. It's not like we got Almunia in goal, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
No,
think he'll be
I agree.
okay. I mean, if we can look after a 16-year-old, we can look after Neto.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, 35 years old, he's experienced head. He's done well at Bournemouth. Some of the Bournemouth fans weren't really a fan of him, and they said, "Oh, we're quite happy to let him go because he's had some bad games." Just shows how much we know. We don't see him regularly enough, do we? But from what I see
No,
of him, what I hear of him, he's experienced enough. It'll be interesting. But one thing I will say is it'll be a blow because I don't know about you, brother. I think Ray has been our best player so far this season.
he's been top drawer. I mean, people are talking about him now as one of the top goalkeepers in the planet. So he's got to be doing so. I really hope he is. I don't want him to be injured, Dan, but I don't want to rush him back and he's out for 2 or 3 weeks. Do you understand?
Yeah,
So you got to be a
yeah.
bit careful.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'm with you. He's totally put all of my doubts away. And it wasn't because I didn't like Raya or that I loved Ramsdale. I didn't like how the goalkeeping situation went. I've been vocal about that. I think Aaron Ramsdale will go and do well now for Southampton, hopefully, and I hope he has a good career. But Raya has been phenomenal, mate. And I'll tell you this now: every time I'm looking at the telepathy and the communication between Raya and defence, whether it be set pieces, the command of his area, his attributes Arteta bought him for, playing out from the back and kicking and distribution. I'm looking around his all-round game and I'm thinking, yeah, you are better than Ramsdale. You might not be levels above Ramsdale, but you're definitely better than him, that's for
yeah,
sure. And
yeah.
people are saying now, is he up there with Allison and Edison? Not for me. I think he's got to do a lot more consistently to be looked at. But certainly, if you go on form, he's the best goalkeeper in the league right now, David Raya.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think he's been. I mean, talking about Ramsdale, he sent a good luck message to Jack Porter. Did you see that this week?
Nice, classy.
Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah. And by the way, on the Ramsdale, I don't know if you saw so. I know Southampton lost their last game, but if it weren't for Ramsdale, they lost about. He was outstanding, mate. And I bet we play them next week, don't we? I
We'll
bet you
probably have
any
a
moment he has a worldie.
He will. He'll have a blinder, mate. They always do against us goalkeepers. I remember there's so many goalkeepers over the years that I never really thought were as outstanding as they were made out to be. Rob Green was one who used to
Yeah,
always turn up against us.
Yaskalainen at Bolton, remember him?
Yaskilina.
Or
I remember Yaskilina, mate. Used to be phenomenal against us. Even David De Gea, I know he was a good keeper, but against Arsenal, he never used to
yeah,
be. He was brilliant, wasn't he? So
yeah.
look, it's one of those. But look, I think David Raya deserves his flowers. I think when you look at Neto coming in, I think he'll definitely have a little not pressure, but like a little bit of nerves about him because I know he's experienced, but it's his first game. But what I just want to see is a solid performance from him, knowing that for the first time in a while we've got someone there that we can rely on if we come in, and we're not sitting there going, "Oh, what's he going to be like?" or "Oh no, loads of nerves," or young kid, or someone we don't know, or someone we don't rate. For years we've had some goalkeepers that are coming in that I just don't think are good enough, mate. So hopefully this Neto can prove that he's going to be a good backup goalkeeper. That's all I can pray for. I wanted to mention the right back situation. You did touch on it earlier. I think Timber's been brilliant, mate. I really do. But he didn't travel midweek, which obviously means he's got a knock. And Ben White, I don't know if he is fit or what, but I think Ben White will start this one if he is fit. What have you made of Timber and White so far this season?
Timber's been outstanding, Dan, hasn't he? I mean, his performance at Man City last week was wow. But I think we've got to temper Ben White because if you remember last year, they were saying he played most of last season through the pain barrier. Oh, I don't remember, and he's obviously been playing with an injury this year. So
Yeah.
I think Timber's been a little bit higher than Ben White this year, but you got to temper that. If Ben White ain't been fit, that explains it.
Yeah, Ben White for me has been superb for Arsenal. The last few games, I've looked at him and thought, not sure you've had the best of games. And when Timber come in at the Man City game, I actually didn't think it would happen, but I didn't question it. I thought, yeah, I can see why. Obviously, Ben White, he had to come on, but they reckoned he did have a knock. If both of them aren't 100% fit, he's either got two options. He can either go with one of them, like you say, he can play Party there, or what I would do is play Lewis Skelly there because it is it's Leicester. So, it's not like we're going to have, these top quality players running at him, like, oh my God, how are we going to get past these guys? For me, I've got faith in him. So let's see what happens. I think that Timber, for me, is one of those players, a little bit like Tommy Asu when he is fit, that he can play right or left or centre. You know, very important that we keep him fit this season, and I think he's been really, really good. So really, really kind of impressed there. And then lastly on Ethan Nwaneri, because I know we did mention it earlier. What sort of ceiling are we talking about here? Are we overhyping this kid? Could he be our next Saka, or could he be our equivalent of Foden? Or do you think he might just be another Willock or Maitland-Niles who don't quite make it, but has a half decent career?
He's going to come out the Ashley Cole, Saka, all the other great youngsters we produce. He's going to join that list. Then he's not hype. The boy's quality, and you know. And I speak to people that have been watching youth football for the last 30, 40 years, and I listen to what they say to me. No, he's not hype, Dan. He's the real deal, mate.
I agree. Look, I don't like to put names on players because it puts pressure on them unnecessarily. Let Ethan Nwaneri be Ethan Nwaneri. Let's not compare him to a Fabregas or a Foden or a Wilshere. Let's just let him do what he wants, because I first saw him and I thought, core. And I ain't done that move for many players, Chris, if I'm honest with you. I did it with Jack, I did it with Fabregas, did it with Ashley Cole. But I see something in him that I think, yeah, you look a little bit special. You look, in my opinion, I didn't do that with Smith Rowe when he first. I think some of his attributes are similar, but I didn't look at Smith Rowe and go, "Core, you're the next Fabregas." I thought you could be a good player. Same with Maitland-Niles, Joe Willock. You know, some of the youngsters that have come through that haven't quite taken it to that next level, but they've always had half decent careers. I think this player looks in the bracket of the others. I really do. I think he looks really special. And I've always said that every decade we get one that comes through. You know, Adams, Rocky, and some of the others all come through together. But after that, we had to wait a decade for Cole, another decade for Jack, another decade for Bukayo. And now it looks like we've got this kid coming through who looks phenomenal, in my opinion. So really, really happy with what he's playing, with how he's playing. And I honestly do think he'll get minutes at the weekend. Whether he starts or comes on with half hour to go, I think we'll definitely give him a game, Chris. So let's see what he's like at the weekend, because tomorrow I expect to see him, mate.
But the thing is, some of those youngsters, the only reason they never made it, Dan, you can have all the ability and the skill in the world, but it's attitude.
Yeah.
And people I know who know Nathan, who've known him quite a long time, when his attitude is spot on, mate. You don't get carried away with himself, which is, you know. So if you keep yourself level-headed, keep listening to people, and you've got all the ability he has, then you'll make it. And he should go on to become a very good Arsenal player. But, you know, the proof will be in the pudding. You can't just play him and then you'll find out. That's the bottom line, isn't it, really? He's part of the squad. They sold Smith. You wouldn't have sold Smith Rowe and let Vieira go on loan if you didn't trust him. You know, that's where I'm looking at it.
Well, listen, Ethan Nwaneri is going to do one of two things. He's going to absolutely light it up and prove why we didn't need a replacement for Vieira and Smith Rowe, or he's going to prove that we did need a replacement. And at the moment, it's looking like he's going to give him his chance. Now, you're right about the attitude. Lee's met him, spoke to him at pre-season, and he said he was just one of the nicest, most level-headed kids you'll meet in your life. And I know Troops, there's a relative of his that trains with Troops' kid, and Troops said he knows him well and speaks to him quite a lot. And he says just absolute top bloke, like really is a top level-headed kid. So, look, if he keeps his feet on the ground, he's got the world at his feet, isn't he? He can be what he wants to be. So let's hope he does it. Yeah, it is wonderful. Let's hope he does it. Super chat here from Suge. Big up, Suge. Says, big up, Dan and the legend himself, Chris. Hit the like and subscribe, people. Make sure you've done that, please, guys. We've got nearly 300 of you in here still. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. We're not at 100 likes at the moment. Let's get that up to well over 150. All of you can do that for me. It's a free button. Hit the subscribe button and like. It's absolutely free. Look, I might as well ask you, we've got a nice run of games now, Chris. What are you expecting in the next few weeks? Because we have got a lot of games, but the majority of them, I've said to you, are at home. Couple of Champions League games in there. PSG, Shakhtar Donetsk, Southampton, away at Bournemouth, and Liverpool as well at home. So I'm expecting a good run now, Chris.
I am, but unfortunately, we got also an international break in the middle of that, Dan.
Oh, brilliant. I look forward to them.
And, you know, we still haven't got over the last one, have we? Look what that costed. So, yeah, I'm looking to make hay in these, especially the games against Southampton and Leicester. But we mustn't go, you know, like, so we've gone through the week from hell. So you've got to keep your attitude and that level of performance at the same. Just because we're playing Leicester don't mean you sort of, I mean, we're all guilty of Leicester. What do you think? 3 or 4 nil. Life's not like that, Dan. You still
No,
got to play at that top level. But all things being equal, I think we could go on a really good run. I'll just pray we don't get any more injuries. That's all.
well, let
Because
me ask
we
you on
picked
that
it up.
international break. You've mentioned it. Think Arteta might learn, play a few dark arts of his own, and get a few
Well, I wish
players
you would.
kept up?
I think the thing is, you could withdraw a lot of players at the moment, couldn't you? You could say Raya ain't going with Spain. You could. There's a few you could pull out, but because we're the Arsenal, Dan, we never learn, mate.
Nah,
I'm sorry.
I mean, look, Ben White don't want to go anyway, so that's good. Obviously, you got Timber, Raya, Calafiori. All these players got knocks. You know what I mean? That have had knocks.
Yeah,
Martinelli, all
you could
cramping
pull
up.
them, yeah.
I'd pull them and say, look, guys, if you feel anything, be honest. Like, stay here, look after yourself, and let's not get you out for months. That's what I'll be having them. And I'd say, look, learn from Martin, learn from Mikel Marino, learn from these guys that are going down. They're trying too much. They're trying too hard. They want to play for their countries. Of course they do. But look, I'm not lying. I don't want to see these lads playing. I really don't, because we can
No,
bet
you
your bottom
don't.
dollar this Lee Carsley is going to be no different to Gareth Southgate. Rice and Saka are going to play every minute of every bloody game again. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, I have to laugh. We've got this thing about players strike and too many games. Well, one of the first things I'm looking at is why are we playing a load of stupid international football during the calendar then? I mean, in the Nations League, why the reason that trophy was invented was to stop pointless friendlies. So UEFA come up. So I'll tell you what, we have this tournament called the Nations League. So they replaced it with pointless friendlies with pointless internationals.
No, no
England,
one
what
cares
are you
about
going
this
to
Nations
learn
League.
watching England? No, I hate it, Dan. Yeah, I really do. And our international football has cost Arsenal a lot in the last 20 years. I'm not going to bore I could reel them off, but I won't bore everyone. But there's been so many occasions when we've been hit hard by international football.
I
I'm
hate it.
sick of it. They hate it.
I hate it as well, and I don't think anybody gives a damn about Nations League football. Like,
No,
let's just
they
be
don't.
real. I for one, look, I'm patriotic. I'll always go club over country, but I am patriotic. I do want England to win. Always will. If I ever could make and win every game, I would. But I only really care for the Euros and the World Cup. I don't care for any other friendlies, any other nations leagues, even the qualifiers. I just want to get them done over and done with quickly.
But
Like I ain't
the,
looking forward
the
to this
thing
bit.
is, football's all about money. I mean, really, everyone. If you say the European nations, everyone wants to see France, Germany, Belgium, Holland, England there, don't they? So if I had my way, they just automatically qualify. And all the
Yeah,
qualifiers will be Liechtenstein versus, I don't know,
yeah.
San Marino. Let them qualify for the tournament.
There
Do you
should
think
be
how
it
much
should be
that was
seeded.
released?
Put the top seeds through, and then let the others qualify
Yeah.
for it. No,
And
I
that'll
agree.
give players a bit of a rest. But it's
Exactly
money,
that.
Dan, isn't it?
Oh, it's all about money. Look, I understand both sides. I understand the side of we're knackered, we can't keep playing, we'll break down. And I also understand the old school footballers that are coming on Talk Sport going, stop moaning, you're getting paid more than me. And I loved playing every day, and I would have played every day if I could. I get it, I see both sides, but it is getting rather ridiculous now, even for us lot as fans, thinking, crikey, like every few days we're watching. It's brilliant for the entertainment value and all that. But I look at it and I think, I actually feel I'm actually with them players. I feel every move and every goal and every kick with them, and I'm thinking they're going to go down. They're going to go down. Every time I look at Saka, I'm like, no, he's
Yeah,
playing again. Like when he played in midweek, I was thinking, no, he's playing against Bolton. I'm like that, and it
yeah.
ain't nice. It ain't good for the art, mate.
But those old players years ago, they used to drink 6 pints of Stella on a Tuesday
True.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Those days are gone. These are athletes finely tuned it. And there's so much money in club football and so much riding on it. The fact that we've been without Odegaard for the last 3 or 4 weeks because he played in some pointless game when he already had an injury. Remember that? He should not
I
have
do.
played in that second international.
I do.
And then you got the Norwegian manager thinking he's laughing and thinking it's a joke. Ain't on, Dan.
No, it's ridiculous, mate. I mean, I would have pulled Odegaard, but that's another story. It's too
Yeah.
late now. This comes in from Kurt. He says, if Sterling does well, I'm not against giving him an 18-month contract. I mean, look, I don't actually know is going to happen at the end of this year because Chelsea don't want him, so I ain't paying for Sterling. They can give him to us if they don't want. Do you know what I mean? But we're going to have to bloody pay for him and his 350k a week wages. This could be an expensive deal, mate. It's all right for a freebie for a year. I just don't see long term what happens with Sterling.
Well, there's no way Arsenal will be paying him 350 grand a week, Dan. So forget that. And plus the fact, I don't know if you've seen the rumours today that we're in for that Wirtz at Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh,
so
really?
you're not going to buy him and keep Sterling, are you? Apparently, a big rumour today about that. We offered 75 million up front.
Really?
I do. You say that. Yeah.
I'd take him, mate. He's an absolute quality player. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of rumours. People have spoken to me about this being this position is going to be replaced in the number 8. We're going to get a proper exciting midfielder in the summer. That's what a lot of people are saying to me. I don't know how true that is.
I don't know.
Well, if it's Wirtz,
Florian Wirtz is a wonderful player.
Yeah,
same here, mate. Quality footballer.
He's top quality. There's rumours that Musiala's going to go Man City, so maybe we're going to get Wirtz then. Look, I think he's quality. Imagine him and Odegaard. Blimey, that'd be phenomenal. That really would. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it would be. It'd be absolutely phenomenal. Champions League, just quickly before we wrap up. New format. Are you a fan of it?
Yeah, I think it's quite good, Dan. Because I think all the games can. You're not going to have in the group stages you'd have the last 2 games are be dead rubbers, wouldn't they? So I think every game you're playing there, I quite like. I'm enjoying that format, and I think it's quite easy. You got to be a really bad team not to qualify. Because the top 8 go through, and then 8 to 24 go in a playoff. So I think we're quite capable of. Well, even if we didn't get in the top 8, I think we're getting a 24 playoff. Yeah, I quite enjoy it, Dan. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, look, it's the first step towards the European Super League. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
So when people are saying they enjoy it, they're going to give evidence as to why a Super League's needed. That's my only worry. I don't want a Super League still. I'm against it. But when we all say, "God, this new format, brilliant," at Champions League, they're going to go, "See, European Super League it is. Everyone loves it." That's my problem. Not that I think we should lie and say it's crap, but I do think 2 extra games is a bit of a ball ache. I will say that because we play enough as it is already. But I don't mind it. The only thing I will say is a bit strange is you kind of it's luck of who you get home and away, isn't it? It's more luck with it. At least when you got a group stage, you're playing one at home, one away. Whereas you don't know what you're doing. Like we've got Inter Milan away and Atlanta away and Sporting away and Girona away. But then we've actually got PSG at home, Shakhtar at home. They're tough games, They are tough games. Like we would expect to get some of those in the last 16, wouldn't we? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hard fixtures, Dan. I had to laugh when people were telling me that we got an easy run of fixtures, and I thought, well, you obviously don't know a lot about European football then, because they're not an easy run of fixtures at all.
Look, when the draw happened, I said, "Yeah, we'll take it." You can't complain. You're never going to get an easy run. I'm never going to look at the run and think, "Oh, blimey, I don't recognise any of these teams." It's always going to be hard, right? But look, I think for me, the reason it's hard is because of where we're at now. Arsenal are fighting at the top, which is what we want, and it ain't going to be easy for us at all. I still look at us though in world football right now. There's only really Man City and Real Madrid that I wouldn't want to go up against. Everyone else I fancy as Chris.
I think I'll put Inter Milan in that bracket, Dan. Good. I know they lost 3-1 to AC at the weekend, but I'm quite impressed with them. And there's always a team that you don't in Europe. There's always a team that can really stitch you up that you don't really expect. So yeah, I think we're a good team, but I'm not getting. We're a long way behind Real, which our record in Europe is that's a subject for another program. It's pretty poor for a big club. I've got to tell you.
Yeah, Yeah, look, Inter Milan are going to be tough when we go there for sure. And the reason that it's going to be even tougher for the Arsenal is because we've got to play Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Inter Milan away, and Chelsea away. And in that
Yeah.
as well, which people have forgotten about, is actually within that great game now, we got Preston away as well. So it's not going to be easy, mate. You know,
And that's why we want a fully fit squad. And that's
yes,
why like we don't want another. I don't want another international break. People coming back with bad injuries, mate. Uh,
no,
the thing is,
absolutely.
that then that take us to. I know you've always said that. Is our squad still good enough? But I think that is a subject for another. I'm not too. I still think we're a little bit light, Dan.
Yeah, look, I mean, potentially we are. I still feel a striker and a attacking midfielder was needed. Perhaps that's why we linked with Florian Wirtz and Gyökeres. Maybe that is why we linked, and hopefully we get those sort of names across the line. But
Yeah.
look, we can't talk about who we still need. We can't do anything at the moment until the summer, right? So we got to look at that in the summer and look at those two positions, in my opinion. But right now, I think hopefully we get Ethan Nwaneri that can come in and prove why we don't need an attacking midfielder as much as we think. And hopefully the boys up top can do the business. You know, I'm looking at Havertz, hopefully. And I'm really looking at these run of games now to score some goals, Chris. Do you know what I mean? You there, mate? Have I lost you? I think I've lost him. Yep, his internet's gone.
But
um,
his internet signal's getting worse.
You're back. Yeah, no, that's all right, mate. At least you're back now. I've just looked at this Florian Wirtz thing. There's a lot of rumours in the last few hours that yeah, we are looking to go all out for Wirtz. Interested in him. Leverkusen would demand a transfer of around 100 million euros, 150 million euros. My goodness, it's going to cost more than Declan Rice. But look, you'd expect that. He's been phenomenal. So let's see if that is actually going to come to fruition. Look, we're going to wrap it up there. Chris, you're an absolute legend for coming on, mate. Thank you so much,
All
my
right,
bro.
mate.
Really
All right.
appreciate it as always. Make sure you go and follow with Chris on social media, Chris Hudson. And I'll be back at 4 p.m. with lead judges and 5 p.m. on here. Make sure you are hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. And we'll see you next time. Take care, people. We're out of here. Peace.